They finally did it. Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and we have breaking news today. They finally did it. They finally banned Leyline of Resonance.
He did it! The son of a bitch did it! Yeah! Alright, come on. Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh? 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 I have exorcised the demons.
Alright. So, there are some caveats, but the important thing here is Leyline of Resonance is banned in Best of 1 Standard. Moving forward, on the ranked ladder, in Best of 1, you will not have to face this card at all, ever. Thank God. In fact, that reminds me of last night's stream. Yeah, it's over. Come on. Come on! So there's, two good reasons now why Leyline is fucking stupid. It's almost like they're trying to get people to not want to play Magic. It's really bizarre. I don't understand the choices that they're making. I really don't. Like, when Slick Shot came out, that was bad enough. It's like, what are you doing? Nobody wants... You're gonna literally scare everybody away from playing the game because this is so annoying to play against. What are you doing, Wizards? And then they doubled down on it and put out the fucking Leyline. It's so stupid. I don't understand. It's like they want their game to fail. And that brings us to today's announcement. October 22nd, 2024, Leyline of Resonance is banned in MTG Arena Standard Best of 1 constructed formats. It will no longer be playable on the ranked ladder in Best of 1. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is to go one step further, it is not banned in traditional Standard Best of 3. And of course, it's also not banned in limited formats like Draft or Sealed or special formats where it might be available. But the fact that they're not banning it in Best of 3 kind of speaks volumes to the fact that they don't want the card to be completely useless. And for people that crafted it to not be able to use it at all. And it is much more manageable in a Best of 3 format where there are sideboard options and where, you know, rolling the dice at whether or not you get it in your opening hand can be a little bit more detrimental in a situation where you have to win multiple games rather than just get lucky and beat your opponent and then move on like Best of 1. So it's kind of an interesting wrinkle here that I'm definitely going to pay attention to moving forward. It's also suspended in Alchemy Best of 1 and Best of 3. So for a little while it won't be usable in Alchemy at all, but they're pending a rebalance, which means in Alchemy and older formats, we are going to get a version of Leyline of Resonance that will be playable at some point after they finish rebalancing it. I don't know what they could do to this card to rebalance it, to make it usable in Alchemy, to make it usable in Historic and stuff like that. But if you have ideas about what you think they could possibly do to this card to rebalance it, definitely let me know in the comments, because that is an interesting part of this. The fact that we have confirmation here that it will still be existing in those formats. Eventually, it will come back once they figure out how to rebalance. The fact that they didn't announce what the rebalance is here means they're probably a little bit stumped as well, and they know that eventually they'll come up with something, but maybe they just don't know what the heck to do with this right now in the moment, which is crazy. But let's move on and go over the actual article. So, Leyline of Resonance. We love fast and fun Magic. This is especially true for MTG Arena, where the guiding philosophy is fast, fun Magic for everyone, anywhere. What's critical is that it be fast and fun for both players involved. Fast without the fun undermines the purpose of playing the game, and this is the issue both we and the player community have observed with Leyline of Resonance on MTG Arena. It disrupts normal play in best of one constructed matches, and it has led us to the decision to ban the card in best of one standard constructed only in MTG Arena, because I don't even think best of one is really a thing as far as tournaments outside of Arena, to be completely honest, so I don't think it really matters. And to suspend it in Alchemy until the release of a rebalanced card. What led to the decision? Back in 2019, we made a similar targeted adjustment with Nexus of Fate for similar reasons. If you guys were playing on Arena back then, you remember how obnoxious Nexus of Fate was. It would just go off and go completely infinite, but it took so long for them to actually win the game that it was just completely obnoxious. It was the absolute opposite of what you want a game to be. But anyway, where Nexus of Fate made gameplay unfun through a long loop that couldn't be shortcut to the win. Leyline of Resonance has made gameplay unfun by making it so there isn't much playing involved at all. Either folks playing Leyline of Resonant decks concede with their initial hand because they're dissatisfied with the draw and are unable to mulligan down to a winning solution, or they win within the first few turns of play. And this is what I've been saying for a while, is that it creates a situation of extremes, where depending on the hand you get, your chances of winning are super, super low or super, super high, and there's no middle ground. And that middle ground is where Magic thrives. That's where interaction is. That's where decision making is. And the more ways that you can play cards and force your opponent to have to respond to that with different decision making, or just change their line of thinking, change the decisions that they make, the healthier the game is. So as you create this divide where you have such extremes where you're either going to completely win and it doesn't matter what the opponent does, or you have no chance at winning whatsoever and you're just going to concede, the less fun, the less healthy Standard becomes as a whole because of it. And honestly, Magic in general. This is especially problematic in best of one constructed formats where players on the opposite side of the battlefield win or lose the game and subsequently the entire match with little or no decision making on their part and no option to sideboard in possible solutions for subsequent games. And that's really the key. No decision making at all to determine the win is just a feel bad. And the degree to which it's fun for the player playing Leyline does not make up for that. In fact, I would argue most of the time it gets really old really quick and ends up not even being fun for the Leyline player. Like, sure, it is at first when you first start trying the deck and see how crazy it can win so early, but eventually it just becomes a grind, right? You're just not really having fun and making decisions. You're just playing the cards, winning or losing, and then moving on. While Nexus of Fate created non-interactive win conditions that could take a half hour or more to finish, Leyline of Resonance is creating non-interactive win conditions within 2 turns. Both disrupt what we would consider normal play. Yes, I would agree with that. The timing of this decision, alongside fast and fun, another one of MTG Arena's guiding principles, is to provide an authentic Magic the Gathering experience. This includes alignment of banned and restricted announcements whenever possible to ensure the play experience is the same regardless of when, where, or how you play. As we noted in our recent MTG Arena announcements blog, this is a card we've been keeping an eye on with the goal to answer 2 essential questions. Does the data support Leyline of Resonance disrupting what we consider normal play? And if yes, is it happening often enough to warrant action on MTG Arena outside of our normal banning cadence? This kind of data aggregation and analysis takes time. The first week or so after a major card set release is often incredibly chaotic, and the meta can go through several radical iterations before settling on the new normal. For every screenshot or post shared on a social channel, there are thousands upon thousands of other matches being played quietly in the background. We wanted to be sure that the problem shared by us, with us by some of our most engaged players had the data to support it, and that the data continued to support it even after the meta settled. The answers to both of those questions were ultimately yes and yes. The number of best of one standard constructed games ending before turn 4 has essentially doubled since the release of Duskmourn House of Horror. That number has remained consistent in the weeks since release, and there's a big red, allegedly, 4-cost enchantment reason why. With the updated banned and restricted announcement cadence, we didn't feel comfortable waiting until December 16th to make this change. Thank goodness. To be clear, this is an issue unique to MTG Arena and only in standard best of one constructed and alchemy matches. The banning is not based on the general power level or the overall health of the standard format, far from it. I would agree with that because I don't think these Leyline decks necessarily have the highest win rates in the meta, right? The problem is they're so easy to just throw together, and then they're incredibly easy to pilot that it makes the idea of approaching simple wins so appealing, especially to newer players or players that aren't as skilled, to just sometimes be able to win without anything that the opponent can do to stop you is very appealing, you know, especially like I said, to that player base. So even though the win rate is not as high as some of the other decks, the appeal is still there, and that's causing people to rush to that deck in droves. And regardless of whether the win rate is on rate with some of the other top meta decks, being able to potentially get those easy wins is just too good of a feeling to resist the urge of playing it. So I do kind of agree with that. There's some more information about player collections with Leyline of Resonance. Players who had Leyline of Resonance as part of their MTG Arena collections prior to the ban's implementation will receive rare wildcards equal to the number of Leyline of Resonances in their collection. Players will receive an in-game notification, and when the card is banned, which will include the number of wildcards they have received. Now, this ban is live right now, immediately. So, if you go on Arena, you're going to get your wildcards, and you're not going to be able to play with Leyline of Resonance in Best of 1, starting literally right now. So, thank goodness for this. I'm actually about to go live with a celebration stream where we're playing all the decks that I've wanted to play, but just couldn't quite hack it against a turn 0 Leyline. And now I think the meta will shift a little bit and make some decks that before weren't very playable, weren't very competitive because they just didn't have any answers to the turn 0 Leyline. I think some of those decks are now going to be a lot better poised to make an impact on the ranked ladder, and I'm excited to start experimenting with that. So if you want to head on over to Twitch and come be a part of that celebration stream, I'm going to start the stream right after I upload this video, so come on over, be a part of that. It's going to be super fun. Also, if you could do me a favor and like this video if you haven't already, it does help me get the video out to so many more people and helps the channel grow. I'd be nothing without you guys and your support, so thank you so much to those that do it. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss an upload. Tons of crazy deck techs on the way. And I'll see you over on Twitch, twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming, especially today, especially today, we are celebrating, baby. I'll see you there. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like Mana Flood or Mana Screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence and will launch to retail in the fall, but playtest team starter kits are available to order now. And they haven't forgotten about all you collectors out there. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a one-of-one stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community-first approach, with 8 print-and-play decks available on their website, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck techs, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.